Okay, let's get started. So we're just going to go over for the next 25 minutes how technology can help your firm understand relationships, cross-sell your services, allow your fee earners to collaborate with each other. My name's Simon McNidder. I'm from Promptr Limited. I've spent 30 years in CRM. I started off at PricewaterhouseCoopers, the big accounting firm. I was at PW when they merged with Coopers and Lybrand. I am that old. It's got to be nearly 30 years ago. And I went into the new head of marketing's office after the merger and said, look, all our database, our data, mail shots and events is all duplicated. And he looked up from his desk and pointed at me and said, you've got that job. And I remember thinking, oh, what a stupid thing to say. Anyway, absolutely loved it. I've been in it ever since. So I then moved to Pinsent Masons, as they are now, big law firm. Took them through 5 mergers. Most of the time, the other firm didn't have any CRM database or processes or anything like that. So that was just great fun. That was the whole project all over again and again and again. About 10 years, I left Pinsent's and set up a consulting, contracting, freelancing business, if you like, about CRM and helping law firms and accountants with that. And then about 4 years ago, I created some software to help smaller law firms with their CRM headaches. Because, of course, I've been in great big law firms and I've been part of the CRM team or the CRM team helping them. And, of course, medium to small firms don't have those sorts of budgets. So we set up alerts and we set up a mini CRM system based on Outlook. What I'm going to do today is show you how you can get the benefits of what you think is a CRM system without the hassles of buying. Okay, and I am going to send these slides over to you afterwards. So, your CRM journey from the 1980s onwards, it's always been this. It's been you've got to get everything to in a spreadsheet, then you've got some sort of software to send mail shots, whether it's newsletters, alerts, updates, event invites, that sort of thing, and then you've got the big one, which is CRM databases. Now, moving the data, well, it's harder in the spreadsheets. Moving it into newsletter, okay, fine. And then taking that data and putting it into a database, dead easy. But it's everything around the database that gives your firm your headaches. So user adoption and all that sort of thing. You're buying licenses for absolutely everybody rather than the 2, 3, 4, 5 marketing licenses you need with a newsletter. So there is a halfway house between doing mailings and having a great big database. And that is looking at your Outlook for activity. So we've labeled them just Outlook CRM alerts, and I'm going to go into them a bit later. But what that is, it's a brilliant first step for you. It tells you all sorts of things that's going on with your contacts without you having to lift a finger. Okay, so your CRM options. Mid-sized law firm, I'm not going to go into this page too much. I'll send them afterwards, and you can see the positives and negatives for having either newsletter, CRM Outlook alerts, or a mini or a full CRM database. But what I do want to remind you is if you go for a big system, you've got to bear in mind adoption and the data quality. Without that, it's a waste of money, which is why CRM alerts are a very, very good stopgap. But I will go into that in a minute. It gets you up and running quicker as well. So it depends on what question you or your firm is asking. If you want to say, we need a CRM database, you're going off in that direction and finding one of the 10 systems that are best for you and you're whittling it down and things like that. If you actually want to say, do you know what, our fee earners, well, the marketing team are all right doing mail shots and events. Our fee earners need to see who knows who. They want to understand what's going on with the contacts. They want the ability to collaborate and cross-sell with each other so that we get actually some profitable growth in our law firm. That's a slightly different answer. Okay, it can be a CRM system. It can also be something that looks a bit like it, that just doesn't act like it. So let's go through a few things. If you've got a great big database compared to a very passive Outlook CRM alerts that's tracking Outlook and doing things, and I will go into what they do in a minute. Let's have a few things on why CRM systems are a hassle for you. How often have you ever seen lawyers or accountants, depending if you're accounting firm, go into a database and hunt for information? It doesn't happen. And if the information is not there in the first place, that lawyer is not going to go in again and look for information. So they're hunting around for information that may or not be there. If it's not there, they're probably never doing it again. Okay, that doesn't happen with alerts. Alerts ping information to their inbox as and when it's useful. So just before their meeting or just on a weekly update to see what's going on with your contacts, their contacts. If you imagine that now the senior lawyers, the partners and things like that, they're great at BD. That's how they got to where they are. But the normal lawyers, sort of mid-tier in your firm, buying a database and enforcing add your contacts, add your BD and things like that, and add if you've gone for a coffee, add if you had a meeting with someone, that's not going to make their BD any easier, is it? It's actually possibly even going to make it more onerous because they go, well, I've got to do that, but I've also got to log it and things like that. Ooh, and it just becomes a bit of a barrier. In my whole 30 years of helping professional service firms and mainly law firms with CRM systems, it's not a natural fit with a lawyer. It's hard enough getting them to use the billing database or the time recording system, and they have to use that. A CRM system, in 99% of the law firms I've ever known, isn't a have-to-use system. It's not on the PDR, the PDRs or the appraisals of usage. If you think about it, when your lawyers come into the office in the morning, and you never hear them say, oh, yes, I want to use a database today, do you? They'll do anything but use the database. And I've got some feedback from real life users after in a couple of slides' time. So just have to think about that. But you never hear them say, well, I'm not using Outlook. They live in it. So why not utilize it and utilize it around your firm for a far bigger benefit for your firm? Now, we all know that collaborating lawyers creates opportunities and introductions for everybody else in the firm. So why don't they use the CRM system? Your firm may have it, or you may be looking at it. What you'll find is they won't add their BD and share their relationships and things like that into the system. They hate using big databases. They potentially hate using small databases as well. So you have to work around that. Okay, so these are some of the problems with buying a database, because it's taking ages to buy it anyway, and it's a big budget, and it's a lot of support, and then you've got to get the user to use it. And you know what? That's probably the hardest part. And what that happens is if nobody logs that they've met somebody, or they're not updating the details or adding the contacts, your database is near useless. Now, if you are looking for CRM systems, you have to have one that links with Outlook. Discount it straight away if it's not going to automatically add contacts or update them when an incoming email comes in, those sorts of things. You're trying to look, if you are looking for a CRM system, you've got to look for the most passive, easiest, I'm not lifting a finger sort of principle by your users. And most of your users are your fee earners, client-facing staff, lawyers, accountants, whatever you like to call them. How often do you see an email ping around your firm to say, I'm about to meet a person. Does anyone know them? Has anyone met them? All that sort of stuff. You see that even with firms that have got a CRM system. So why aren't they utilising it? Well, if you had just something passively looking at Outlook emails, and if that lawyer was about to go and visit somebody, they received an email from a system to say, this is who you're meeting, this is who knows them, this is what's happened to them, you'd never see those very inefficient and probably annoying emails ever again. Databases are in a race to do more and more things. If one does 100 things, the other one's got to do 101, and then another one's got to do 103, and then the first one has got to do 104, then a 9. They're in a technology race to do more and more and more. Now, that's absolutely fine for a very few percent of your client-facing staff. Some of them will just go, fantastic, a big database, your marketing team, brilliant. The majority of lawyers, the majority of client-facing staff, whatever type of firm you're in, it's just too onerous. It's scary to have a look at. If there's buttons and fields and all sorts of stuff everywhere, it is a terrifying proposition. Okay, every single one of them uses Outlook and is okay with it. And every single one can receive an email and they can choose to open it and read it. That's where alerts and databases very, very differ. Right. Some lawyers are rainmakers, you just know them. They bring in work if you gave them a pencil and a notepad and took away any kind of tech. Okay. As I said earlier, buying a database doesn't make BD any easier. It's just not going to do anything unless you find one with alerts on the side of it, and they're quite expensive. So if you just bought one with alerts and just looked at daily activity, that sorts you out. And all that happens is these alerts, ping the lawyer with this is information and a hint and tip about what to do with it. How easy is that? So, for example, imagine you're a lawyer and on a Monday morning you receive an alert from your system, or the alerts, doesn't matter what you call it, to say these are your contacts, because that's automatic based on who they're emailing. This is what's happening to them. And this person, one of your contacts, has booked onto one of our seminars. And there's a little tip that says, why don't you pick up the phone or drop them an email and say, I see you've booked onto XYZ seminar. Looking forward to meeting you there, and I'll join you early for a coffee, or I can't make it, I hope you really enjoy it. You might want to speak to XYZ and I'll get them to say hello to you. How about that? That's fantastic client experience, or your prospect experience, and the lawyer probably doesn't even classify that as BD. Might be a tiny bit scary because, what will they think if I email them? Well, absolutely fine, because it's a relevant email. So all of this, click in the link, email that contact and say, looking forward to meeting you. I hope you come to our seminar. That's also going to increase the attendance list for your marketing team, isn't it? And of course, databases, everybody has to have a license, so they become expensive. If you look at sort of the market leading one, what everyone always says, it's Salesforce, okay? It's just a mass market tool. At the level that you need in a law firm, because the lawyers are using the database and need to do it just as much as secretaries and PAs and the marketing team, you're looking at £95 a user per head per month. That's huge. Down on the cheaper end, you've got things like Zoho, and that's much, much cheaper, but it's still a database and requires extra licenses to do certain things. You've, of course, have got the legal specialist things, Interaction, Intap, things like that. These are expensive tools. Okay, they're going to start, depending on you get 100, 200 people in your firm, you're going to start at thousands of pounds per month. Whereas a CRM alert, because there's less technology and less support and all that sort of stuff, they start at, well, some of ours start at £50, but there'll be other suppliers there that do other things as well that start at more. So some real life feedback from users of databases. And they'll use any excuse not to use it. Okay, I'm not using my database because I'm not using our CRM because my contacts aren't in it. Well, that's fair enough, isn't it? Why would they? Their Excel list or their Outlook list is got better data. I'm not using it because updating is not a 400 per hour job. That's quite right. You don't want your lawyers, your senior lawyers anyway, updating information. You want them doing proper BD and speaking to clients. I don't know how to use it and it's too complex. Of course, big databases have got hundreds of buttons, numerous pages, all sorts of fields all over the place. Just think about removing the barriers from usage. And of course, you do also hear, I'm not using it because nobody else is using it. Okay, that you'll find that if you've got a CRM system, you'll know that already. If you're looking at one and you're thinking, fantastic, we're going to have this and everyone's going to use it, I'm afraid to tell you they're not going to. Okay, if you get 50% of your firm using it regularly, if you track it over a 6-month period, you'll be very pleased with yourself. But that means it's not fulfilling its potential. So you're wasting 50% of your budget immediately. And what happens is all the people that are using it don't get the benefit from the people that are using it, aren't using it. And all the people that aren't using it get the benefit from the people that are using it. So where's the incentive to use it for the people that aren't? Okay. A very passive Outlook CRM system, tracking Outlook and alerts, gets around all that. So every single lawyer emailing contacts or referrers is tracked. Now, it's not tracking your text, so there's no risk involved. It's just saying that email is tracking that email, and it's done 5 times this month. Okay. You'll also get some cracking feedback like, I know everything about my client. Why do I need to use it? Well, you might know everything that you know. What about all the stuff that other people don't know? And then you get, it's my client, I'm not sharing my relationships. How is that going to help all the other contacts, all the other users in your firm? Yeah, it really doesn't. And databases can't get around that, but alerts do. Now, you can buy databases with alerts on them, or you can just buy the alerts alone. This is the sort of feedback you want from your CRM system. It's the reason we want the client, short of complete potluck, I wouldn't have, I've shortened these, of course, client impressed with my knowledge or blah, 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 and it makes you look good, and you're on top of the detail when you go and meet them. Okay. Now, that's feedback from a CRM database, but with alerts on it. I'm sorry if you can hear someone in the next room. But that is the feedback because all this resulted from the alerts pinging into the inbox of the lawyers. Okay, and that's the main benefit of CRM databases, when they allow lawyers not to lift a finger to get the information out. So why bother with a whole system when you can get all that straight from tracking Outlook? So whether this is an alert bolted onto your CRM system or it's an individual one looking at Outlook, this is what you really, really have to have. Okay. Now, if you had an alert, these are up and running within a week. Of course, you're not going to build up the whole picture within a week. It takes 3 to 6 months. If you're looking at a database, you've probably got about a year's procurement policy, haven't you? And all sorts of budgeting issues, because they are expensive. But this is what you're looking for. So the top one, let's say I know Jane Smith at ABC Company. I now know, because the system's looking at Outlook, that lawyer A, B, C, and D are all emailing that contact. Okay. I also know that a couple of meetings have happened, and one meeting is about to happen. Okay. That's the core of an alert. That gives them an overview completely. Then you can just bolt on a few other things. So if you've got a CRM system or you've got a mailing tool and you can bolt it onto the side of these alerts, you then know who's clicked on what, who's booked onto what. And our alerts, and I'm pretty sure other ones do as well, allow lawyers to log their BD if they really want. If you imagine a very mini CRM database with an alert on it, that's what our alerts are. So if you're looking at a CRM system and it doesn't give an inbox alert like this, discount it. It's the key part and the benefit of any system. So Outlook alerts generally give you 95% of the benefits to the fee earners. It's less use to the marketing department. If you want to manage events and mailings and things like that, you're going to need a piece of software that you can log into and do things with. But it's 95% of the benefits for the fee earners, because they're getting all of the things they need. 5% of the cost for your firm. There's hardly any admin chores in implementing it, and you've got zero adoption worries, because everybody's using it without their knowledge. They're just because it's just tracking Outlook. Okay. So just bear that in mind. Now that allows you to get the most benefits from CRM in about a week's time. So generally in life, there are 2 types of these alerts, and they work everywhere, whether it's on the side of databases, your big systems, or small ones like ours. You've got activity-based ones, and they're looking at who's doing what in the system and alerting the user or the BD team about a summary of information each week or each month. And I'm going to go through one of them. On the right-hand side of this slide, you've got keyword-based ones, and these help your lawyers cross-sell. They're just based on if an email coming into your firm has got a keyword in it, it triggers something. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just briefly go through how an alert works, because I'm sure you've got an idea of how a database works, because we've heard about them from 1980s onwards. Okay, the CRM alerts looking at Outlook are very, very new, and they're going to allow you to catapult where your position and the benefits. So let's go through one. So let's take the keyword one first, because it's simpler. So what happens is you tell let's say, well, we'll take tax because it's on the slide. Your tax team, they want to get more introductions from the other teams in your firm. So they'll produce round-robin emails. They might have networking events within internally, and they'll have a PDF type thing, to say our services, and this is what to look out for when you're chatting to clients. Now, if you've got 10 teams doing that, you've got a lot of information hitting that lawyer. Let's pretend that lawyer is an employment lawyer, not the partners, because the partners are excellent at PD. We just know that, because that's how they've got to where they are. So a normal lawyer receives, let's say a normal employment lawyer receives an email from their client mentioning blah, 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 and then something about tax. One of the tax keywords that the tax team have said, this is important, SDLT, VAT, anything like that. What's to say that that lawyer would naturally say, yes, I need to now go and introduce my tax person or one of the tax team. What they'll be thinking is, I need to answer this email for the client about this employment thing. And it might get forgotten. It might not, but it might. So what happens with the Promptr alert is everybody just carries on as normal. Okay, it's just set up behind the scenes. When Outlook passes the trigger, if it spots a keyword that you're looking at, so a tax keyword that's not going to the tax team, it triggers an alert to your marketing person with who it came from, the lawyer, the keyword, maybe the text, you can choose to have that or not, depending on your risk preferences in your firm. And the marketing person can qualify the lead and introduce the tax person if needed. Yeah. If it's not relevant, you go, no, that's just something else, clear it. If it is, all good, introduce the teams. Yeah. If you thought that 1 in 1,000, even if you said 1 in 10,000 emails from clients may have been a new piece of work, if you look back 3 years, or if you look forward 3 years, how many pieces of work is that going to be? Okay. So that's one. The other one is activity-based alerts. Okay, so we've got a couple of each types. So this one I'm showing you is how to manage your referral network. Okay, so same sort of principles. Imagine your firm, let's say you've got a property conveyancing team and their referrers are estate agents. I'm going to take Savills as an example because I think they're nationwide, so it doesn't matter where you are, rather than one of the ones, my local ones that you'd have never heard of. So you've got Savills.com, Savills.co.uk, Savills Estate Agents, Savills Auctions, Savills Private Sales, all that sort of stuff. Maybe there's 10 or 20 different domains. We plug those and any other ones that you wanted to track into the system. Okay. Everybody sits and carries on doing what they want because it's a passive system. The emails in and out from your firm get tracked when they're to do with Savills. And we'll also tell you, look, you've missed a Savills one because we found this. Do you want to include it? Now, it adds contacts to a database, a mini one, behind the scenes, and then adding who knows who and who's dealing with who. So it's building up a picture and nobody's yet had to lift a finger. What it then does is once a week, it emails the lawyers to say, look, of the contacts you know, this is who else is dealing with them via emails and who else knows them and any meetings that are happening. Okay, so that gives them an overview of what's going on with their referral network. BD and marketing receive a monthly alert that says, these are the people that you think are your work introducers. Here's an overview of what's happening to them, but also, and it works after 3 or 6 months after you've actually installed this, it says, and these are the people that are being forgotten about. Should you go and have a chat with them or book a coffee? And marketing can go, right, John Smith, Sue Brown, whatever, at Savills Estate Agents. So nobody's contacted him or her for a while. Let's at least take them for a coffee or drop them an email to see how they're doing. Of course, those sorts of things have also got a pre-meeting alert that says, look, you're about to go and visit this person. Here's an overview of who knows them, what's been happening to them, and all that sort of stuff. And then there's a little simple lookup facility that if anyone wants to look up a contact or a firm, they can. So, and log a referral or a work introduction so that you can go, right, before the meeting, I know what's happening with this person. I also know what's happening from around my firm to that person's firm. And databases don't give you that because lawyers don't go into them and half of them don't track that sort of activity in Outlook. So that's where an alert works for you. Now, where alerts beat databases are nobody has to lift a finger of effort, so everyone can spend their time doing what they do best, whether it's the marketing team or the lawyers. Nobody needs to do database admin chores. Okay. Now, databases require a huge amount of admin. If today you decided, yes, we need a CRM system, you'd be about a year away from actually buying one of the big ones because of the massive budget issues, the procurement things, the looking at all the sorts of other things. If you said, do you know what, we'll have an alert, just bolt on an alert and see how it works. You're talking, depending on which one, from 50 or £100 per month for 250 person law firm. And you get most of the benefits of CRM systems. Now, of course, an alert doesn't allow you to manage events and mailings and things like that marketing might want. But the majority of lawyers also don't want the hassle of a database. And that's one of the reasons why we set up these alerts. We took them out of the CRM system that we've already got and setting them individually. And it gives you most of the benefits within a month at a tenth or a minute cost of the big systems. So I hope that helps. I'll be sending the slides around afterwards. If you've got any questions, if you want to get in touch, please do get in contact with me. More than happy to help. Just point you in the right direction if what we offer isn't the right thing at all. Happy to help. Thank you very much for your time. I hope it was useful.